Bridget means quite a lot to me as a character, and there's a lot of pressure to keep churning out the same sort of thing. So I waited until a story came to me and there were new things to write about, and then I wrote it secretly without telling anyone so that I could just write it like I wrote the first one.
Right. So in the pre-publicity, I read that Darcy is dead.
I know.
Why?
Well, do you know what? I got the terrible shock because I was watching the BBC News, and hard on the back of the Syrian crisis came the headline, "Mark Darcy is dead." And I actually thought it was really touching that this, after all, fictional character, no one has died, has meant such a lot to people.
But OK, I've got to ask you this. Is he really dead? He hasn't just gone missing in a jungle, presumed dead, and he's going to somehow come back?
Well, Colin Firth is not dead. I think that's the essential thing.
Oh! Is there a clue there? Hang on.
They are different people.
Yes, I know. But might we see Darcy back in some kind of, you know, I don't know, come back from the dead?
Not in this book. Because in this book I wanted to write about the way that, just as in the first book, there's a big gap between how people feel they're expected to be and how they actually are. I think that was the nub of Bridget. And in this book it's more about the way that there's a big gap between how you feel life is expected to turn out and how it actually does. And as we all know, life is tough. Stuff happens. There are dark notes and there are light notes. And the thing about Bridget Jones is that she has a way of KBO, as she says, keep buggering on. And she gets through the tough times with the help of her friends and with laughter and being kind and vulnerable and human.
And presumably your thought was, it's not going to be a very exciting storyline if we just have Darcy and Bridget madly in love, two gorgeous children, car in the drive, and it's just kind of boring contentment.
Well, I didn't really plan it. I suppose what happens is that things just sort of come to you as you're living your life. And life has changed hugely since I first wrote Bridget. For example, technology is the fifth element now. One of the things that I first gave me the idea was when I had my daughter by C-section, and I planned it all beautifully, and I had the group email ready saying what her name was, when she was going to be born, but then I pressed send. And so then I had to send another email saying, I'm really sorry I haven't had the baby. And then when I had the baby, I couldn't really say, actually, I have had it now. So I think, you know, there was no email when I first wrote Bridget. And I think the very fact of technology being there now means that everyone's lives are much busier and more complicated. It's almost like we all have too many computer screens open in our minds. And I think Bridget is muddling through the confusion of all that. And as you say, it is more interesting to have someone in later life dealing with tough stuff and loss and not quite fitting into the mould, and still being supported by her urban family, who are really the ones that continue with her, her gay friends, her friends, the ones that get together and laugh like people do, and just help her through.
Will it be a film? Can we say yet whether film rights have been optioned and taken and all the rest of it?
Well, it hasn't happened yet, but one of the most exciting moments was when I went to the filming of the first film and saw that clip you've just shown. Yeah. With Colin Firth, who in my mind was still mixed up with Mr. Darcy, and Mark Darcy, writing and saying the lines that I'd written for this hybrid creature. And it would be exciting to see the new love interest in the new book, the younger man rock star, and Mr. Wallaker come to life.
Presumably the younger man rock star is totally inappropriate.
Of course, Bridget is always totally inappropriate, but she's human, and I think, you know, in modern life we have so much perfection thrown at us, so many things we're supposed to be and look like and achieve, and sometimes we forget the fact that just being human and kind and funny and sort of muddling through in a rather messy way is all right. It's all right to be a person.